yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Plan Commission meeting, City of Franklin. Please take the roll.
Mayor Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Hogan,
Here.
Commissioner Butthart is absent. Commissioner Haley.
Here.
City Engineer Morrow.
Here.
Alderwoman Day.
Here.
Commissioner Leon.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item B1, approval of the regular meeting minutes, March 23rd, 2023. Any additions, corrections, or changes?
Move to pass.
Second. We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Item C, public
Mayor?
hearing. What?
Over here.
Mr. Leon?
Before we start, I would like to formally welcome our two new members of the Plan Commission, Alderwoman Day and Mayor Nelson. Welcome. And let's do some good things over the next few years.
Thank you very much. Going into item C1, public hearing business matters. Regular?
Good evening. Good evening, Plan Commission. Good evening, Mayor. This is an application for an area exception. So what is an area exception? There is a process when an owner requests to the city to increase or decrease one of the bulk requirements. For example, in this case, it's a lot coverage, but it may be used to increase the maximum permitted height of a structure and also the maximum building size of a garage, for example. So the process is the applicant submit the application, the request to this Department of City Development. Staff review the application and route also the applications to other departments. That's why in the report you can see comments from other departments, engineering, inspection services. Then we schedule the public hearing that we have tonight for recommendation of the Plan Commission. And then this request will go to the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals for a decision. So in this case, it's an area exception request to increase the lot coverage. What is the lot coverage? The lot coverage is the percentage of a lot that can be covered with structures like the house, the garage, sheds, pools. There's a maximum for each zoning district. In this case, it's 20%. And the applicant is requesting an increase of 1.29% to allow for a deck here with stairs. The area for the proposed improvement is 160 square feet. And this is the calculation by staff. So this is the maximum lot coverage that is permitted, is 20%, and that is the existing conditions. The house and the existing garage is just as the maximum permitted by the ordinance, and the owners requesting this increase that would put the lot coverage by 1.19%. So the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals may approve area exceptions up to an increase of 20% of the maximum permitted. So that would be 24%. So the request is within the threshold that can be approved with an area exception. I just want to add an additional comment that is not in the staff report because I received this this week. That is, I was informed by the engineering department that the the proposed deck with proposed also a patio will be over the maximum permitted impervious surface. So this request is only for the lot coverage. That should not be confused with the impervious surface. Impervious surface is maximum area for pavement and structures also. And the pavements, like the driveway, counts to the impervious surface, but not towards the lot coverage. So the staff recommendation, there are two alternatives. One is to table this item and direct the applicant to revise the plans to meet the maximum impervious surface of 30%. And the second alternative is to recommend this to the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals, and the applicant will need to make their revisions before the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting that is the actual decision-making body for this application. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. City Engineer?
So to clarify, the impervious area cannot be waived. I mean, that's a hard 30%.
Correct.
That's nothing within our purview to be able to waive.
Correct.
So as I explained to my staff, is they could either, reduce the deck size, reduce the patio, but they can't have both as shown in this drawing. So we'd have no problem with the patio or with the deck, but that would mean that the patio would have to be decreased and vice versa.
Correct.
Mr. Leon?
Mr. Martinez, Kramer, public comment before questions from plan?
Yeah, this is a public hearing item.
Yeah, okay, so before we get to our questions, right, we have to have the public hearing, I believe.
Notice of public hearing, City of Franklin Plan Commission, Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Common Council Chambers at Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road, Franklin, Wisconsin, 53132. Applicants Suejin Wan and Aileen Tong for a property located at 7911 West Oakwood Way, property zone R5, suburban single-family residence district. Tax key number 93401083000. The proposal is an application for an area exception from Table 15.3.0206 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow for the installation of a deck onto an existing single-family residence, exceeding the 20% maximum lot coverage standard in an R5 suburban single-family residence district by approximately 1.19%. The public hearing is being held pursuant to the requirements and standards of Section 1510.0209 of the City of Franklin Unified Development Ordinance, a map showing the property affected, full legal description, the application, and all supporting materials are available for review and may be obtained from the City Council by way of request to the Department of City Development. During normal business hours, the public is invited to attend the public hearing and to provide input.
I'd like to ask the applicant if there's anything you'd like to say. Is the applicant here? No? Okay. Just offering. So at this point, we'd like to open up for public hearing at this time. If anybody wishing to come forward and speak on this matter, please do at this time. You sure, sir? Seeing no one at this time, we'll close the public hearing. Move forward with any other further comments on this? Mr. Leon?
So my question is to the applicant. We have two recommendations from staff. The second one specifically to the impervious surface. Would the applicant be okay with making the changes for the impervious surface to be compliant before our BZBA, which is on May 15th?
17.
May 17th. So if the applicant, is the applicant agreeable to that before?
Sir, would you like to come up here, please? Yeah, please. It'll make it, no, you can have a seat right here, sir. It'll make it easier for you. Yes, just come up in here and just have a seat. Welcome. Could you please have your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Yeah, my name is Shibin Wang. My wife's name is it is 7991 West Oakwood Way. Franklin,
Thank you, sir.
Wisconsin. What's your question?
So if the Plan Commission recommends for this to move forward for the exception for the size of the deck, would you work with staff to present, to change your proposal for the impervious surface?
So you will need to make the proposed patio a little bit smaller to comply with the maximum impervious surface.
The patio already installed. Concrete patio is already installed.
That makes it a little easier.
So therefore, the deck needs to be.
Or reduce the footprint of the deck, yeah.
Then the make it smaller.
Yes, or the patio.
Hold on. Alderwoman Day?
For my own, Glenn, do you happen to know how much over we're talking?
I do not. I know it's 30%.
0.5%.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
so it's
percent,
not-
but it's not a
Not
lot.
astronomical.
No,
Yeah.
but that's a hard number that we
Yep,
can't.
nope, okay.
So if I have to, I just make the decks. Because the patio already installed years
Right.
ago. 1 year ago.
Mr. City Attorney?
Did I hear correctly that the patio has been removed?
No,
No,
it's installed.
it's basically the house is a new construction, and the last year on August, I installed the patio and the driveway. So the patio in the backyard and the driveway in front are already installed. They are concrete, already installed.
Right.
So I just want to add a new deck. Yeah, then I can go down, go to my backyard. I don't need to turn around.
But you have to decrease the amount of concrete impervious surface on your lot, is what the city engineer is.
Hold on. Mr. City Engineer?
So a way to solve that is just not make your deck as large. You're limited to the size of your deck.
Okay, then, so I think the best choice is to make the deck smaller.
I think that would be the smart option,
Yeah,
what you want
because
to do. yes.
the patio already installed. You
Yeah.
cut it.
Right.
it
No.
Doesn't make much sense.
Mr. Haley?
I just have a question, maybe the engineer can give us some enlightenment. We consider a wooden deck as an impervious surface?
Yes, MMSC requires that.
That makes absolutely no sense.
I-
I've never seen a wooden deck that didn't let water through.
I appreciate the comment, but that's how they're graded.
Mr. Leon?
Thank you.
So my question to the applicant remains, if Plan Commission decides to move forward with this and recommend to the zoning board, would you be prepared to change the size of your deck before May 17th when you come before the zoning board? Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking to get confirmation on.
Any other further comments on this? No? Looking for a motion?
Motion to, go ahead.
If I could, a motion to approve with the second recommendation of staff that the applicant adjust their proposal before BZBA on May 17th.
Right. Just a comment that is not motion to approve, it's just motion to recommend to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Does that
Well,
work,
apparently-
City Attorney, Mr. City Attorney?
Per the normal process at Plan Commission, the motion is read.
Oh,
So there is a prepared motion in front of me that I will read. Motion to recommend approval of an application for an area exception to allow for a maximum lot coverage of 21.19%, 2,852 square feet. Application requests an area exception from Table 15-3.026 of the Unified Development Ordinance to exceed the R5 Suburban Single Family Residence District maximum lot coverage standard of 20%, Karen 2,691 square feet by approximately 1.19%, to allow for the installation of a deck onto an existing single-family residence, property located at 7911 West Oakwood Way. Mr. City Attorney.
Provided that the deck size as it currently is proposed is reduced so that the property meets the impervious standard requirements.
That'll be added to the motion.
so moved.
Second?
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Moving on to,
You can go now.
thank you, sir. Moving on to item D1, Firewise Barbecue Company and Food Truck Operation. Are there representatives here from that? Okay. Mr. Martinez?
This is a, a temporary use application for a food truck. So the Unified Development Ordinance has a section for temporary uses. Sorry. For example, like food trucks, outdoor sales, also even construction and office trailers. So the Unified Development Ordinance provide in which cases the city development staff is authorized to approve temporary use applications, and other type of application has to go to the Plan Commission. The application that has to go to the Plan Commission are the type of uses that are not listed in the Unified Development Ordinance, and uses that have a duration of more than 30 days. So this is the case of this temporary use application that is presented to the Plan Commission. So it is from April 1st to October 31st. Staff issue a temporary approval from April 1st to this date. And this is a food truck that will be located in the Menards parking lot in this area, the Menards and Speedway Drive. This is a recurrent temporary use. This is the third application. The applicant has obtained temporary use permits in the last 2 years. And also, I would like to mention there is precedent of previous temporary use at this property since 2008 or 2004 actually, for like fruit sales and other outdoor sales at this parking lot. What we normally review in this type of application is that the temporary use that's not create any obstruction to the traffic. So this will be located here, so there's no obstruction to the drive. The Menards parking lot has sufficient parking spaces. So staff is recommending approval with the condition in the resolution. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any discussion on this? Seeing none, I have a prepared motion. Temporary use, motion to adopt a resolution imposing conditions and restrictions for the approval of a temporary use for a Firewise Barbecue Company food truck operation in the parking lot of the Menards store located at 10925 West Speedway Drive.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Okay, we're looking at now number 2, Oakwood Industrial LLC Lot Division. Hey, Marion.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for what's referred to as a certified survey map, or CSM. Just briefly, a CSM is a land division that is recorded with the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds for a division of property of not more than 4 lots, including outlots. It is probably the most common type of land division that we see. The other type being a subdivision plat, which is for 5 or more lots. So in addition to being recorded with MCRD, they are regulated by state law. So there are reviews that are conducted at the state and county level in addition to our own review. Locally, we're ensuring that they meet the requirements of the zoning for the dimensions of the lot and other features. So there's a statutory deadline. In this case, it was exceeded with the consent of the applicant, which is required, but typically they have to go to Common Council within 90 days of receipt of a complete application. So you will often see that note in a report. In this case, the applicant needed to make some changes to their request and agreed to go to a later date. And then one last plan commission was canceled due to lack of quorum. We're okay with proceeding to this meeting, but it is required that both CSMs and subdivision plats receive a review from the Common Council with a recommendation with conditions, a denial, or an approval. So at this point, Plan Commission is a recommending body on this application. There's a few other details related to what's required for these types of applications. They typically require natural resource protection and the recording of both natural resource and utility easements. In this case, this application is for a lot that was previously developed. The subject property was formerly farmed field, but was recently developed by Vanguard, and now includes an industrial development on the northern half. It is bisected by a wetland complex, so I apologize that this didn't fit vertically, but north is on the right side of the screen. You can see the wetland complex in the middle, and because of that, the location of that wetland complex and a previous desire to develop the southern portion of the property, this parcel has already gone through what's called a natural resource special exception process. So we've canvassed a lot of the requirements of a certified survey map through their previous development approvals. So they had previously requested impacts to wetland setback and buffer and received that approval. They are not proposing any new changes to the NRSC or the Natural Resource Protection Plan at this time. So that is resolved for the moment. However, they are still required to record a conservation easement that was a result of that approval. So lot 1 will be 757,570 square feet, 1,000 square feet. And lot 2 will be 1,059,970 square feet. There's no current proposal for the development of the southern parcel, but it is anticipated that it will be developed potentially by a different owner in the future. As I mentioned, there are some conditions of approval, the recording of conservation easements and the status of mitigation from the previous NRSC have to be resolved. There's typically a requirement that any technical corrections, whether it's the notation of setbacks or minor details on the CSM, that's a standard condition of approval, and we always recommend its inclusion. And those conditions are then reflected in the draft resolution. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this. Both lots meet the requirement of what is PDD 39 zoning. Yeah, and the applicants are here as well, so.
Mr. City Attorney.
With regard to the resolution and your comment just now about it requires a conservation easement or easements to be recorded, applicant is aware that the council has to approve easement, correct?
Correct.
And in the resolution at some point, you had two capitalized words, date.
Yeah, I apologize. I forgot to insert the date of the natural resource special exception in the condition related to it. So,
So there will be technical changes to the resolution
correct.
before it goes to the council.
Mr. Haley?
Thank you. I just have one question or concern. I understand we're here on the CSM, but included with the plans were stormwater management plans and all of that. And the stormwater management, as shown on those plans, is being diverted directly onto Milwaukee County property. Years ago, the city and the county resolved this issue. That pond that's half on and half off the property to the north is supposed to receive all of the stormwater drainage from the future developments. It has to go directly into that basin in order to get to the river, which is out there. So the issue is that where they show that discharge, it needs to be shown going across the property to the north and finding its way to that basin, because that's in fact why it was constructed. And you can't just discharge your stormwater onto adjacent property.
That's just for show. Mr. Leon?
For that, just to clarify, I think the discharge is to the west, right? Because north is,
Correct. I was the property to the north, but it discharges to the west.
Thank
We have two parcels.
thank you.
Sir, welcome.
Good evening.
Should be.
Good evening. We built
Sir,
this-
could I please have your name and address for the record?
Mark Lake, Conrad Partners, 1200 Road, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
This CSM it is basically what it allows us to do is it allows us to now go ahead and part of it. This property came through, we had two buildings on it for plan commission, also for revision. Have two buildings planned for. In this case, we're allowing for the north building to be sold off. Stormwater management and everything else has already been designed and necessary for DNR standards. Period.
I would like you to explain that to me.
We got plenty of room. Both can stay up here. We got two chairs. We're in a mic sharing business.
Mike Taylor, Warren Associates, 400 East Wisconsin, Milwaukee, East Wisconsin Avenue, Milwaukee.
Could you say your name one more time?
Mike.
Thank you, Michael. You're welcome.
Yeah, the pond that exists that straddles the property line with the county land was actually constructed to support the expansion of Wood Avenue and hospital complex. So the pond was designed to handle that water. It was not designed to handle development. So to develop the site, we created three separate ponds. And the water that's discharging to the west is less than the amount of water that was discharging to the west of the farm. For MMSD and the city, we had to reduce actually less water now after.
I understand and appreciate that. The intention was when the city and the county worked this out, because that was the concern, is that they didn't want all these non-point sources of discharge running across county land to find its way to the river. So the city was supposed to ensure, it wasn't just about Oakwood Road, but the city needed an easement and they needed that pond. And part of the agreement was that all water in the development would find its way to that rather than flowing overland to the river. Now, I understand what you're saying about the reduced discharge, but that's what's coming out of the pipe. And I think we all understand that when the emergency spillway comes online, there'll be a direct, uncontrolled discharge across that property. So I'm just, and this has nothing to do with the CSM, I'm fine with it. I want you to understand that when it comes back, there is a way to make it work, and that's what the city is supposed to have been doing all along. It's just a matter of regrading that area and getting the water to drain there, in particular the spillway, because that's the concern. You just can't dump your water on the neighbor's property, even if you are controlling it at one point in time. Those controls are not always in effect, and if you get a significant storm, basins, as we know, are designed with the spillway to allow that to happen, and that was the concern at the time. Because the county could have said no to all of this. That was the reason that that was done, was so that there'd be harmonious development of the area, and we didn't have to have battles over stormwater and where it was coming from and who's impacting who. So I'm afraid that maybe the city dropped the ball on this. It should have been carried through. There's an easement agreement with the city from the county that's not just there to accommodate Oakwood Road. That's what was the impetus for creating it, but the intention was that it capture all the drainage ultimately from this future development. So it's not really relevant at this point in time because this is the CSM, but when you come back with stormwater, I would expect to see that resolved.
This building is already there,
I understand.
and so is the stormwater pond and all the stormwater.
I get that. It's the new one to the south.
That's there as well.
Well, it needs to be fixed. We're here for a CSM. I have no problem with it. I'm suggesting that you have your engineers look at it and that the city look at its commitments because that was the intent. You don't just blow your water over the property line and never think about it again. The city engineer at the time was very concerned about the issue. It's what we worked out. I happen to be involved in it. I've got the history, but somebody needs to dig into the files and find out what the promises were. And I when you say it can't, I'm not sure that that's true. It just requires some remedial grading, a different grading pattern. And I don't think it will have anything to impair your development of the property. Let's just do it right.
Mr. City Engineer?
I can't have staff look at that. It's been a long time since I've looked at that agreement, but I recall that it was really sized to handle the pond or the road issues. I know we went through a lot of hoops, and matter of fact, Mr. Freilich may be more intimate with that document than I am since he developed the stormwater plan. But if I recall correctly, it's really sized for the road expansion is what the intention was. And then the idea was anything else would go to that swale that this pond actually drains into a swale, and you just catch it further upstream. It basically is what happened. That's what's happening. But I will have staff look at it. But I've had enough other people look at it too that I believe that's correct.
Well, pull the files.
Regardless of what the intent may have been, that's I think is how it's designed.
Well, there was a plan, and I think it made sense, and we should look at it now to make sure that we're not creating a problem down the line.
And I can also comment that conversations with the county parks, the current county park staff, is that they would prefer to get rid of the pond if they could. So, which is kind of odd, but that's
How couldn't they get rid of the pond?
well.
It's there for a function, and it was designed not
Mr. Haley?
just to carry Oakwood, I believe I still have the floor, not just Oakwood Road, but all adjacent developments. And the idea was that it would be a flow-through.
We'll check on that again.
Please, thank you.
Any further discussion on this? Any further comment, gentlemen, at this point? I have a prepared motion. Starts off with affidavit of correction, a motion to recommend approval of a resolution approving an affidavit of correction.
That's the wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry.
C2.
Two.
C2.
Gotcha. Oakwood Industrial LLC Lot Division, certified survey map, a motion to recommend approval of a resolution conditionally approving a two-lot certified survey map, being that part of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of section 36, township 5 north, range 21 east, situated in the city of Franklin, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, at 3617 West Oakwood Road.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, Faithway Reserve Subdivision Exterior Boundary Correction.
Thank you, Mayor. So as I discussed previously, there are two types of documents that are recorded with MCRD in the division of land that are most common in Franklin. In this case, a subdivision plat was recorded for this property with a mistaken setback line on it. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the side yard setback was depicted as 30 feet. The applicant is requesting to correct it to 10 feet, which is the correct side yard setback under the R6 zoning of this lot. So effectively, this is amending a previously recorded document so that construction on the site can conform to the zoning. So are there any questions?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prisbilla, do you have anything on this, sir? Okay, we'll start with I'm sorry, just, I know who you are, but please state your name and address, please, for the record.
Rick Brisbane, 9244 West Grandview Court. I just wanted to make one comment. It's the heading. I believe it should be interior boundary correction rather than exterior. But we're not changing any of the exterior boundaries of the subdivision. Just the interior. I don't know if it makes it.
I don't have the motion in front of me, but
I have the motion and I can read it in a second here. Is there any other discussion before we move forward with this? It says subdivision exterior boundary correction.
yeah, it's interior.
It should be interior?
Yeah,
Okay. Good catch.
Good catch.
thank you.
So I will, at this point, read the prepared motion. Faithway Reserve subdivision interior boundary correction. Affidavit of correction, a motion to recommend approval of a resolution approving an affidavit of correction for Faithway Reserve subdivision, Lot 8, to correct the side yard setback on the recorded plat, property located at 7780 West Faith Drive, tax key number 792-0272-000.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Prisbilla. All right, moving on to item number 4, Home Depot Store 4907, outdoor sales.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a temporary use application similar to the previous one. This is for a garden center for the seasonal sales at Home Depot. This is the location of the garden center. This is actually from April 1st to July 1st. It was a schedule for the previous meeting, but was postponed to this meeting. This Home Depot is located in what we call a planned development district that has a special regulations. And this ordinance for the planned development district allows for this outdoor sales area, but it has a requirement that it has to be approved by the Plan Commission on an annual basis. This has been a recurring temporary use permit since 2008. No changes with regards to this application from the previous year. So staff recommended approval with conditions, the same conditions as it was approved last year. I'm happy to answer any questions that you
Thank
may
you.
have.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll read the prepared motion. Under Home Depot Store 4907, outdoor sales, temporary use, a motion to adopt a resolution imposing conditions and restrictions for the approval of a temporary use for outdoor seasonal tree and shrub sales for a property located at 6489 South 27th Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, ayes have it, motion carries.
Move adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you.